This one's going to be a good one. Hey, this is Jared, and today we're going to be going through a daily devotional. And we're also going to be, through this time, reevaluating what we think greatness is, and then how we can apply that to our lives. Let's get to it. All right, this one's a winner. We're geared up, ready to go. All right, everyone. So we're now on day 9 of VLOGtober. It's been a crazy 9 days and a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think this daily devotional segment has become one of my absolute favorite things to do for this channel. And so I hope that you enjoy it also. If you've got any passages that you want covered, maybe in a future video, just let me know in the comments below. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at the book of Mark, chapter 9, and we're going to be diving into that in just a second. But to prep us for that time that we're about to experience in daily devotional together, I'd like to just take a second and talk a little bit about some preparatory things that I think will get us in the zone to receive this word from God today. And of course, part of that preparation work is understanding our spiritual gifts. I think I did a video on that a long time ago, and maybe I'll link it in the description below. And also, I just did a video during VLOGtober on Christian leadership styles, and so I'll link that in the description below as well. I got my work cut out for me here. But one of those leadership styles and one of those spiritual gifts is the gift of vision, of discernment, of foresight. I think it's so important that if you want to get somewhere, you have a plan for your life, that first thing you need is to know where you want to go. I mean, it's that simple. You need a direction in order to get someplace. And so, as we think about that, I just want us to take some time right now and think about where you want to go, but in a sense of, as a believer in your spiritual life, where do you want to go maybe this week, this month, or this year going forward? Just take a second and think about that as we hear these words from Mark chapter 9. I'm beginning in verse 33. And they came to Capernaum. And when Jesus was in the house, he asked them, "What were you discussing on the way?" But they kept silent, for on the way they had been arguing with one another about who was the greatest. So Jesus sat down and called the 12, and he said to them, "If anyone wants to be first, he must be last of all, and servant of all." Then he took a child, put it in his arms, and set it in the midst of them. And he said, "Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but he who sent me." This is the word of God for the people of God. So, reading through this passage, and I've already read through it, so I've had some time to kind of think, have some thoughts on it. But immediately, what I think of when I hear this passage, and it's so funny, I immediately have this vision of a mother and father in a car, and the siblings are in the back seat, right? The mom and dad are at the front, and the siblings are in the back, and they're arguing, right? And they've got, squabbles about something. And then the dad turns around and says, "Hey, what are you guys arguing about?" He already knows. He knows what the conversation, because he's in the space, right? He's within earshot, and of course he knows what their argument is about. Maybe he's heard it 100,000 times. And that's the same scene that I think is happening here in Mark 9. Jesus already knows what's going on. He knows the conversation that was happening. Maybe he's heard it more than once before. But just now he decides, it's time for me to kind of break this habit once and for all, right? He decides it's time for me to say something to these folks and maybe teach them something. And I just really do believe that that's the same, it's apples to apples analogy here. Of course, we are getting so close to November, and we're coming up on a midterm election this year. And as many of you know, when elections start, maybe you've already seen the ads rolling through. You can't turn on the television or open up your Facebook, Instagram feed without seeing something political where somebody says, oh, this person's the greatest and this person's the worst and this guy's lying and this guy's telling the truth. And it's just on and on and on and on, right? But really, what does Jesus have to say about being the greatest? The thing is, Jesus really redefines our understanding of greatness here in Mark chapter 9. If you want to be first, you must be last. If you want strength, seek weakness. If you want power and influence, you have to seek service. If you want to win, you have to lose. I think that's just such a powerful, back and forth, this dichotomy, this paradox of the gospel message, that in order for us to live, Jesus had to die. And in order for us to live into that truth, we have to die to ourselves. I just think there's some power there in this concept of greatness. And I just really do believe that Jesus calls us into this paradox. And it happens over and over again in the scriptures, not just here, where he goes, what are you arguing about? If you want to be great, you've got to be servant to all. Let's listen to this passage one more time out of Mark chapter 9, starting in verse 33. And they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, what were you discussing on the way? But they kept silent, for on the way they had argued with one another about who was the greatest. And he sat them down and called to the 12, and he said, if anyone would be first, he must be last of all, and servant of all. And then he took a child and put it in his arms, set it in the midst of them, and he said, whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but he who sent me. I think that's just such a powerful message, and I think it's so poignant, especially this time of year. So, as you go throughout your day, I'll leave you with this benediction. Go with confidence in God's power of direction over your life. As the song says, He never failed me yet. May God continue to refine your understanding of greatness, especially in this time of conflict. And may you go in peace.